Welcome back, everybody. Today is Friday. Yay, the week is done, and it's actually sunny here in Toronto. So as I am waiting for people to arrive, just wanted to say hi. Thanks for being here. Hi, Jyoti. Great to see you. So lovely. Karina, wonderful. It's so wonderful to see everybody here. Thank you for coming. Amazing. Yes, like I say, sunny day finally in Toronto, which is super exciting. So I want to just welcome you all back to the Become a Fair Parent Challenge. And right now I just want you to reflect on and comment below what you discovered about your children yesterday. Are they more introverted, maybe more towards extroversion? It's all on a scale. And then I want you to think about you. Where do you fall on that scale? And if you haven't had a chance yet to download my developmental guide to developmental expectations, please go to the link in my bio and pick that up because it's a great resource for you to really get great perspectives on developmental expectations. But before we begin, I also would love to know which Vegas exercise you loved the most so far. Was it the humming om sound from yesterday? Or maybe it was the sigh breath, that extra sip and that release. Or maybe it was that gentle spine twist, right? And finally, how about that calming 4 in, 6 out breath? So if you attempted to try any of them, I'd love for you to comment below. Excellent. Okay. Beautiful. Hi. All right, so today we are on day 5, which means we're done at week 1. So congratulations. You are almost, at the end of today, going to be halfway. I see some answers. Humming, all were different but effective. Totally, yeah. So choose the one that resonates for you. I'm just talking to people who are commenting in the live. Choose the Vegas that resonates for you the most, and then change it up as you need if you get bored, right? But really practice a few and see what feels right to you. All right. So again, we're halfway through the challenge. So congratulations. I love that you're here. So today's letter is P, and P is for presence. Now, presence is all about being in the here and now with our child and, of course, also with ourselves. So taking that time for ourselves. But first, before we dive right into that, we're going to do a Vegas exercise, but this time we're going to actually do a grounding exercise along with a mini Vegas exercise. I mean, they're all connected. So for grounding, to bring us to the here and now, we activate our senses. So I want to start with asking you to just look around and notice if you see 2 different colors. And just notice them. That's about it. Just notice 2, identify 2 colors. Beautiful. Now I want you to feel something around you. It could be the chair you're sitting on if you're sitting on a chair. It could be the table in front of you, that's there for me. And just notice, is it cold? Is it warm? What's the texture? And just take that in. All right, and now finally, I just want you to listen. Listen for any sounds around you. Of course, you're hearing my voice, but are there any other little sounds going on? Just again, notice. Notice that you're here, that you're watching this right here, right now, with me and all of the others who have joined. And then I want you to take a deep, full breath in, again, through the nose in, through the nose out. We're going to aim for 6 seconds each way, a balanced breath. So let's do that together right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhaling through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. You are now present. Well, at least probably more than you were a minute ago. So being present as a parent is often mistaken for being around our children. Times like when our child is doing their homework at the kitchen table and then we're prepping dinner or something, We're certainly in the same room as them, but does that mean that we are actually being present with them? Now, when I work with parents, I often hear, but I just spent a full hour with my child. It's never enough. What more do they want from me? And I hear you, because it's really hard to slow down and just hang out with our kids, especially on weeknights. There's just a lot to get done. And then when our child complains or keeps wanting our attention, even after we spent time with them, chances are the time we spent wasn't truly present time. Now, I do get it. We're all guilty of having so many things on our mind, or if we're not busy thinking about what else needs to get done, we might be using that time just to zone out because we're so exhausted. Now, my favorite is when we're half on our phones and half with them. Now, there are many videos on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, made by teenagers. This is what fascinates me the most, made by teenagers that show us as parents how not present we are. Now, I always laugh when I see them, like a lot, because I'm totally guilty of doing that too. I'm going to try and act it out for you because I don't know how to share on Instagram. I don't think it's possible. But when it goes something like this, like they're standing there, you're on your phone, and then they come into the room and they're like, "Hey, what's for dinner?" And then again, we're just looking down and we're like, "Uh-huh." And then they're like, "Hello, what's for dinner?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then they finally say, "Are you actually listening?" And then we look up and we're like, "What? Sorry?" So talk about not practicing what we preach. We're so guilty of justifying why we're on our phones, but expect them to hear us when we speak. Let's just be honest about that, right? Now, we could just stop here and tell ourselves, but we were responding to something for work. I had to do that. Or we could consider saying, I'm not at work, and I'll always have something else I need to attend to. So let me pause and be intentionally present with my child. Now, I am seeing questions in the chat, which is awesome. I will look at them at the end so that we can address that. Thank you for sharing. All right, but there is a little warning signal I want to say. Because being present is very challenging, please help yourself out by putting your phone away when you're trying to be present. Unless you have a job that's literally a 911 call and you're the only one available, please put your phone away because it's actually really hard to ignore it, especially if it is work-related somehow. But if we're making intentional present time, that means we should not be multitasking in that moment. Okay, now there is some exciting news because I know being present with our kids is very challenging. So if you've been following along and implementing the A and the I of FAIR in Fair Parent this week, acknowledging and taking an interest, what you may not realize that you're already practicing being present. So huge high five for that. Remember though, it's not just about saying things like you're amazing. It's about energetically being there, being present in the moment with your child as you're saying it. So this is actually where the vagus exercises are super helpful. Now when we practice calming our nervous system and having a well-toned, is what they call it, vagus nerve, a well-toned vagus nerve, we will ultimately be much more successful at staying present, even when mild stressors and distractions come our way. Now, because I believe that having a toned vagus nerve is critical to being able to practice being a fair parent, I recommend checking out my friend Dr. Nawaz Habib's book. Hopefully this isn't backwards for you, it might be. It's called Upgrade Your Vagus Nerve. Now, it's a great resource, and he provides lots of wonderful information and practical tools to help you, upgrade your vagus nerve. Now, I personally know Nawaz. I've known him for a long time, and he's an amazing human and a present parent. All right, so I have more good news for you. Being present also helps us have realistic expectations and helps us slow down so we can catch our fears and frustrations. So now we're hitting F and R. So when they pop up, it's about noticing with self-compassion when we are falling into those old habits. Then pausing, taking a breath, like I did with my daughter in the car in grade 7, and then bringing ourselves back to the now with our kids. And when we have realistic expectations of our children, things like recognizing that they may need more connection time with us because they're extroverted, or that they may not be as organized as we would like because the organization part of their brain hasn't fully developed yet. Then we get perspective, like a bird's eye view, which keeps us from falling into that fearful frustration stage. See now, F and A and I and R are all connected, and they're all pulled together with presence. Presence is like a little bow that wraps it all up, or a ribbon that holds it all together. So it turns out I'm talking about buying presents again too. But it's really quite an amazing thing when we see that practicing this week, F, A, I, and R, and we bring it in with this presence, it really brings it all home. So for your challenge this weekend, I want you to set up a 5-minute interval each day between now and Monday where you and your child connect with intentional presence. It can be a 5-minute chat, a 5-minute play date, and the play date is with you in this case, or 5 minutes of quiet time cuddling together. And then I just want you to notice how you feel. Notice how they react. If you have more than one child, I would like you to do this for each of them separately if possible. Now, one thing to remember, consider your own and your child's introversion, extroversion needs. Because if someone's depleted, please don't try. There's no point trying to connect with them at that time, or for yourself, right? Find a time that will work for both of you. Now, when we're being present with our kids, we are helping them feel safe, really seeing them, and depending on what's happening in the moment, even soothing them. So being present helps them develop that secure attachment to us, which by now, hopefully you know, is a key element to raising unconditionally confident kids. So I want you to comment yes below if you commit to practicing being present with your kids this weekend. And guess what? You have 2 days off to practice what you've tried so far in this challenge. And I also invite you to teach other parents this weekend what you've learned. Because the best way to learn something is to teach it. Yeah, getting some yeses. Amazing. I love it. Thank you. So please share with others. Share so we can, this is going to be a little mantra, share so we can all be fair with our kids. Now on Monday, we're going to be focusing on the second A of Fair Parent, which is affirming, but it's not about affirmations. So stay tuned. I'm super excited to share next week's acronym with you, ARENT. It all comes together again, and I'm super excited. So I want you to also please mark your calendars for April the 15th, Monday, April 15th at 9:30 a.m. for a full 1-hour open Q&A. And to hear whether you won a signed copy of my book or my self-paced course, Renewed Parent Method. So for those who want to stay, I'm going to answer the questions that are up there, and thank you for putting your commitments in of yes. And again, jot down any questions you might have as you're watching this replay or when you attend lives, and then come to April 15th's open Q&A and we'll just have a great discussion. All right, thanks everybody, and let me just take a look at the questions. So yes, I find it challenging to be present with my teenagers. They don't have a lot to say these days, and it's like pulling teeth to have dialogue. 100%. Thank you so much for bringing that up here, because it is much more challenging to hang out and be present with our children, but a lot of that is because we want to engage with them. We're curious. We want to know about them, and those are great things, taking an interest, etc., as we talked about. But our children who are teenagers are in a phase where really their focus is on the outside world, right? So until they become teens, they're sort of in our family, that's their main focus, trying to figure out some friendships out there, but really it's a developmental stage to be able to say, hey, now I need to focus out in the world, right? Outside is where my focus needs to be. All the people out there creating my tribe, feeling like I belong out in the world. Those are critical pieces. So what you can do is invite them to say, hey, you know, I just want to hang out with you for 5 minutes, right? Literally 5 minutes. We can just chat about whatever you want, or not. We can just hang out together and see what they say, right? They may still say no. And then it's something a little bit bigger, and maybe that's something to chat with them about. To say, hey, is something happening, or is there a reason you don't want to hang out? Like, talk to me. I'm open. I'm here. I'm willing to look inward and see if there's something I'm doing. Just make it safe for them so that they can let you know if there is something that's bugging them, about the dynamic. So that's where I would go with that. I will wrap up for today. And again, if you have more questions, show up to April 15th. I would love to see you all there. And again, please share. I would love for you to share the lives, and I have this on YouTube as well now, with your friends. But more importantly, please share it yourself with them so that you can be teaching and learning, and that really does reinforce the messages. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.